Hey everybody, this is Alan from Shop Talk with Josh and Alan. For everybody that watches the show, y'all know that we will not be doing an episode of Shop Talk Live this Thursday night because we will be getting ready for the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo that'll be going on at the Probst Arena, Von Braun Civic Center, South Hall, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of April. For those of you that watch the show, y'all do know that Josh and I always do comic reviews. We talk a lot about comics, and we enjoy that aspect of it, but we always do our comic book reviews a week behind, so that way we're not doing any spoilers for anybody. So, I did not want to leave y'all this week without a comic book review. So, I've got my camera, I've got my handy dandy store folio. Let's see what we got in here. For those of you that collect store folios or do anything with that stuff, make sure you stop by some of these booths and get some of their swag. Haven stickers. Two Brothers Comics will be running around there. Make sure that one of them's got stickers on them. Ask them for one. Stop by Jeremy Bernard's booth. Pick up some of his stuff. Decorate your stuff. Don't be bland. You be you. Have some fun with it. So, for the comic book reviews, let's go right off the bat. We have Noctera number 13. I am loving Noctera and what they're doing with it. I think this will make an amazing Netflix show or even AMC at some point. In this particular issue, we do have the Sundog Convoy is making their way to EOS. They've actually made it there, and lo and behold, Blacktop Bill shows up. He's bigger. He is badder than ever. This is definitely not a kid's book. There is some harsh language in it. There's definitely some adult themes with some of the storytelling, but I do highly recommend it. Noctera has been good since the very first issue, and even the couple of little one-shot spin-offs that they've done to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory of some of the characters has been outstanding. I would love it if one day Scott Snyder gave us an entire series just flat out dedicated to Blacktop Bill. That would be great. Next up on the list, and this should really not surprise anybody because for those of you that watch the show, y'all know that Josh and I both love some AWA Studios, so we're going with Red Zone, number 2 of 4. For those of you that are not reading Red Zone, basically we have a professor who is stuck in Russia. He went on a special ops mission to try to help get someone out with special forces, and naturally the special forces got 86 during the middle of the mission. The professor is trying to find his way out, but we do find out in this issue, the professor, we start finding out the end of issue number 1, but in this one, definitely find out that he is not what he seems. For those of you that are not reading it, but you're familiar with the movie Red with Bruce Willis and, oh God, there's a lot of people in that movie. It's kind of a combination of Red meets a retired John Wick. I know that sounds kind of strange, but if you're reading it, it works. It is perfect. Cullen Bunn is doing a great job with this. It's a fun story. Literally, the 2 issues that we have so far just leaves you wanting more. They have been so good. I don't want to give away too much about this because this one is still, this one's only going to be 4 issues. AWA does a lot where they'll put out so many issues, they'll take a little break, then they'll come back with like the second story arc. I don't know if this is going to have a second story arc for this particular story that's being told, but this character, the professor, he's definitely a character that can live on maybe other adventures that he has, or even go back and tell more about his past and how he got to where he is and what actually turned him into a professor. When I say like a retired John Wick, there is a moment in this book where it basically goes out that he is back in Russia. He is there, and everybody and their brother, the retired ones, are literally coming out of the woodwork because they all want a piece of him. They all want to take him out. I will give y'all a sneak peek. This has been a really fun read, by the way. But I will give y'all a sneak peek of some of the art. And one of the big things is actually issue number 3. I don't know how well this is going to pick up, but in issue number 3, this is one of the pictures from it. You literally have our professor, the woman he's trying to smuggle out, walking toward a door. But if you look closely, you got your proverbial cigarette smoking man. They've always got to be in every espionage story, which is great. But he's got his oxygen tank, and taped to the side of his oxygen tank is a pistol. How great is that? That just kind of give you an idea of what you're getting into. Definitely a lot of fun. You cannot go wrong with AWA Comics. If you like stuff like this and you like horror themed comics, this one's not horror, but they do put out a lot of horror. Great company, highly recommend them. I'm gonna go through these kind of fast so I don't waste a lot of y'all's time. Next up, we have issue Moon Knight number 22. For those of you that have been reading Moon Knight, y'all know that Jed MacKay has been absolutely killing it. Moon Knight is one of the most solid books that Marvel is putting out right now. Moon Knight 22 actually kind of brought a character to the forefront that I did not think would actually really and truly carry a book, and that character is Tigra, and she carries this entire issue. She is the center point of this issue. It was great to kind of see her come to the forefront some. This is an issue, it's not a one-shot, but it's definitely a solo story. You get your complete story in this. I like when they do that. Every issue does not have to build to the next issue. Every once in a while, we just need one self-contained story. This was a really good one. She has got her mission. Moon Knight's kind of blown it off with what... The villain that has shown up is actually one of his from the past, and he's like, nah, I'm not worried about this guy, he's a copycat. But she's just not having it. She's all tore up. We do see the escalation of Moon Knight and Tigra's relationship in this. You definitely get your feel-good moment at the end of it. It's a fun issue. It's a good issue. It's kind of a heartfelt issue. Very solid read. If you're not picking up Moon Knight, y'all really need to try to get on this. We're only 22 issues in. I mean, you can get the trades if you don't want to track down everything. But like I said, Jed MacKay's been killing it on Moon Knight. Next up, we have Fantastic Four number 6. Once again, I've seen where a lot of people are not liking new Fantastic Four, but I've also seen just as many people that are liking it. To be honest with y'all, my daughter is reading Fantastic Four, and she loves this version of it. She loves what they're doing. This is kind of a continuation from 5. Something that happened in 5 definitely carries over here, and this is just a fun story. It's literally a family of adventurers having their next adventure. It's been really good. They've been solid. There's been nothing over the top. I mean, it's not... Every issue is not world ending. We've got to fight Galactus and save the universe. I mean, this is what Fantastic Four should be to me. Not every issue needs to be the crisis of the month or anything like that. Just solid writing, solid art, good issues. Please, for the love of God, get rid of Johnny Storm's mustache. For you that are reading this book, know exactly what I'm talking about. You might even hear my daughter off camera laughing because she knows what I'm talking about. It's god awful. But other than Johnny Storm's mustache, Fantastic Four number 6, great read. Next was a new book that come out this week by our friends at Mad Cave Studios, and that is Exorcist Never Die number 1. Honestly, I didn't really and truly know what to expect going into this book. We did talk to Mark London from Mad Cave on Shop Talk a few weeks ago, and we talked about this book a little bit. He didn't give us too many spoilers, which I'm still kind of mad at him about that because I love knowing more than what I should know. But really not knowing a ton going into it, I ended up really enjoying this book. Our two main characters, they are exorcists. They have some really cool looking outfits. They're, for the most part, when you see them, you're going to think they're Templars. And for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, which should be the vast majority of y'all because we're all nerds and we're into that stuff. But the whole premise is they basically go in through the top floor of the building, which is called a hellscape, and instead of a skyscraper, it's a hellscaper. And they are making their way from the top floor all the way down to the bottom into the basement. And at each level, they are having to fight one of the 7 deadly sins. I say each level. The levels are not like a floor like you and I would perceive it. It's more like a massive chasm, then on down, then you got an area. In this book, they actually fight Sloth. In this issue, I thought that was a really good representation of Sloth. The way that it was written, the way that it was handled, the way the fight went down. To some people, it might be, I'm just being honest with y'all, to some people, this fight might be a little bit boring because it's not action-packed per se, but you do get a good explanation of their powers and the god flow and what they're using. And plus, you have to keep in mind they're fighting Sloth, so it's going to be a little different than your average fight, say if they're fighting Wrath. Toward the end of the issue, we do see that next up on their docket is Lust. The reason why, and that's going to be a fun issue, and the reason why it's going to be a fun issue is because our two main characters used to be in a relationship, and she is kind of mad at him because she feels like she got passed over for a promotion and he was given to him. But that should be a really fun issue. You do find out in this that the reason why they're having to fight their way through the Hell Scraper is because, and I know I'm saying it wrong, I'm a redneck, y'all will get over it. The reason why they're fighting their way through there is because there's actually a massive auction going on where demons are purchasing souls at auction, and they're trying to put a stop to the auction. So, Exorcist Never Die, #1. So, it's #1, guys. It literally just came out last week. It's not too late to pick up. This was a fun read, and plus, I mean, I love supporting Mad Cave Studios. Cannot say enough good stuff about Mad Cave. Cannot say enough good stuff about Mark London. Super great guy. Love him to death. Y'all go pick up Exorcist Never Die #1 by Mad Cave. The next one, I need to be honest with y'all, and this is the final book. A few weeks ago, this magically showed up in my box, and I had no idea what it was. And I was kind of like, okay, Josh just wants me to read this so we can talk about it on the show. Fine. I pick it up. I read it. I'm assuming that's what he was wanting to happen, but what ended up happening was I ended up falling in head over heels in love with this. That was issue #1. This past week we had issue #2 of Clear come out. Clear is by Scott Snyder, and from my understanding, Clear actually started out on Substack. And I don't really know what's going on with Substack. I never really got into that. But Clear has now made its way to the print world, which is where we want it, which is where we need it. The whole premise of Clear #1, and we'll just go ahead and hit #1 right quick, and I'll tell you all a little bit #2. The whole premise of Clear #1 is a detective. I can't remember the exact year. It's after the Red War, which is World War III. We have become a society of people that wear what they call veils, even though you cannot see them. And your veil is like an augmented reality, and you see exactly whatever it is you want to see. The book does a really good job of describing it and even showing it. The art's fantastic. But say if you want to see 1940s Chicago, that's all you're ever going to see is 1940s Chicago. If you want to see, the Wild West, that's all you're ever going to see through your veil. Well, we have a private detective. His name is Dunes. He is literally working a case, and he gets picked up by the normal police. I'm just going to call them the normal police. He gets picked up by them to go identify a body. He is identifying the body, and it's basically, yeah, that's her, blah, 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 whatever. The legit detective is like, hey, you don't seem too broken up about this. And the private investigator, he says, well, I hadn't spoken to her in over 5 years. I know she's my ex-wife, but we hadn't talked in a long time. Well, we fast forward a little bit. My daughter's just now hearing this. She's giving like the reaction that I gave, which is great. You can read it when we're done. But if you fast forward, he's back at his office, and in his office is in the beginning of the book, she actually jumps off of what we perceive as the Golden Gate Bridge. She commits suicide, which is never good. But basically, when he gets back to the office, the last present that he ever sent her is sitting there, still wrapped in the original box, untouched. She had sent it back to him. It had been 5 years. He opens it up, and it is a watch, and engraved on the back of the watch is the words, "I was murdered." He goes on a massive hunt to try to find out what's going on. You can tell he obviously still cares about her. And actually, at the end of the first issue, he dies. Kinda. Then he comes back in issue #2, and it makes perfect sense. Issue #2 is so good, so good. You find out that he was never shot. And I'm giving away spoilers now because I need y'all to start reading this thing so we can talk about it on Shop Talk. They have what is called black veils, and a black veil is basically can give a person an augmented reality of their own death, so their life starts flashing before their eyes. This is actually done to him so the people that he's fighting can figure out who he is, why he is, and what they need to do to either kill him or help him. And it was brilliantly written. It was so good. And throughout the course of the book, we find out why they got divorced, why they're no longer together. We find out a lot more, but one of the key things is you find out that on some level, she was still in love with him and he was still in love with her, even though they had not spoken in 5 years. I have my own theory in this book, and my personal opinion, and I could be wrong, I think that she may still be alive, and this is her way of trying to stop her eventual murder is by unleashing her ex-husband on the people that are trying to kill her. I think that would be a cool twist. I could be wrong, but one of the things that they're working on is what's called a massive black veil that can be uploaded so everyone can share a reality or share this augmented reality. Scott Snyder, I gotta be honest with y'all, I've always liked a lot of stuff that he's done. I love what he's doing with Noctera, but in my personal opinion, I think that Clear is very possibly one of the best things that Scott Snyder has ever written. So good. That is our books for the week. So I'm going to give y'all a quick recap. Keep in mind, this coming Thursday night, I do believe that is the 20th. We will not have Shop Talk Live. We will be back 1 week from this Thursday night. We will be at the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of April. Everybody stop by, check it all out. Haven will have a booth set up. We will be hanging out all weekend. Like I said, I'll be there. Josh will be there. Two Brothers Comics will be there. We'll all be running around. I'm hoping to get a lot of footage for y'all. If the signal's pretty good in the venue, we may go live on YouTube a couple times. I do want to say, if you like this type of content, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, share it out to 2 friends. And the reason why I say 2 friends is the first one may not listen to you. So let's go get them with the second one. For those of y'all that have been helping the channel grow, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. We do upload shorts daily. We're going to try to keep those coming. I will get a lot of content for y'all over the weekend at the Pop Culture Expo. One last thing, please go check out the Haven booth. Josh will be signing autographs all weekend long, even though he does not know that. I'm informing everyone now. I've threatened that before. Go get Josh's autograph for no reason other than just to have it. So, if we do not get to see y'all at the Pop Culture Expo this weekend, hopefully we will see y'all next Thursday night live on Shop Talk with Josh and Alan. See ya.